Okay, hey everybody. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do a simple static structural analysis in Fusion 360. And today I'm just going to be using a pretty simple shape. I kind of quickly just made a little L-shaped support or hinge. But whatever object you have, feel free to follow along with me. And hopefully you can apply it to whatever design you have as well. Just a fair warning, this is going to be more of a simple tutorial, kind of just going through the basics of how to take a design that you have or maybe a component and perform static structural analysis on it. Um, Mainly, I use 3D printing, so this type of material I would usually have ABS plastic or PET cheap or PLA, which are my normal materials that I print out of. So let's say I had another component or any type of component that I actually wanted to print out. Static structural analysis is really helpful in determining basically the weak points and what kind of factor of safety you're working with, and basically what parts of your design, what specific areas you need to modify or change because uh, you really want to optimize your design to the point where it's when you print it out, it can hold its weight or whatever it's designed to withstand. So, what we want to do first, once you have your part or design, is what you want to go up here to design, and you want to go to where it says simulation. So, click this drop down menu, and you'll have a bunch of different options. But simulation is the one we want to use for static structural. And so once you open it up, it's actually going to give you a lot of different options, a lot of studies that you could do, which is pretty neat. I do believe that static stress is the only one that doesn't require any cloud credits. So if you wanted to go into any more advanced studies like thermal studies or structural buckling, um, then you would need cloud credits, I believe, depending on what your plan is with Autodesk. But again, that's case dependent. But for today, we're just going to be doing static stress. And so we're going to do click create study. And so now it kind of changes our workspace from the design workspace to the simulation workspace. And a lot of these options, or everything, will change up here. And even your browser will have different options. So the first thing you want to go to is up here to simplify. Now, simplifying, basically, you're able to remove features like screws or bolts, nuts, anything like accessories that you have in your design that you wouldn't need to perform the static structural analysis on. But you should know that kind of beforehand. You should have a little bit of an idea of what exactly your load's going to be, what exactly you want to calculate. But for this, I'm just going to be applying a simple load to the top of this hinge and kind of just demonstrating how it works. So we're not going to be doing simplify, but if you need to do that, of course, go ahead and simplify whatever you don't need. Um, and then, of course, it's going to give you all these options of modifying. You can remove faces, remove features. Like let's say if you had a screw going through this hinge, you could just easily remove that and continue on with the study. But we don't need to be doing that. So you can just finish that. And so the next option that's going to come up. So what I like is that all the top options on this top, this toolbar, they kind of go in order, which is something neat about Fusion. So you don't really need to jump around from one to the other and kind of memorize what to do. You can kind of just follow this in order. And again, this is for simple geometry, but of course, if you have something more advanced, then I will make a future video kind of going more into depth on how to do that, work with those materials and geometries. But for this one, we're going to go to materials, and then we're going to click on study materials. And then here we can choose what type of material we want to put into the study. So right now the design is originally made out of steel. I believe that's just the default for whatever design you make. But if you click on this drop down menu, you'll have a bunch of different options. But I'm going to be going down here to plastic, and let's just say, for example, I use PETG, so PET plastic would be the closest material I believe you could get to that. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so yeah, and then again, it should change to category to plastic instead of metal now. And then the safety factor is going to be yield strength. So we can just click OK. And don't worry if it gets grayed out. No worries about that right now. We are still working on assigning our variables to this. So next part is going to be constraints. And so this is basically where you're going to assign what part of your design is going to be fixed, or if it has a pin connection, or if it's frictionless. There's going to be a bunch of different options, but for this tutorial, I'm just going to be going with the fixed. And then we're going to be selecting the fixed part. So let's say this is a hinge that I want to hang up on a wall. Then this part of the face would be touching or making contact with the wall, and it would be fixed to the wall. So I'm just going to click that. And then it says I have a target on one face, and then the axis you can leave all up, unless you specifically need to change one of those options. Click OK. So we have a simple constraint down. Perfect. Now we can go on to loads. And for this, of course, there's a bunch of different options, but for this tutorial, we're just going to be doing structural loads. And as I said earlier, I'm just going to be applying I could either apply an evenly distributed force onto this top face. So like imagine this was a hinge that's supporting weight on this top part of the face. Then I would want to, first off, have an idea of what kind of weight this is going to be supporting. But let's just say I want to apply a pressure, or not a pressure, just a singular force onto the edge of this hinge, not evenly distributed. So I can go down here to remote force, and then click on the target, which would be this face. And now I have a bunch of different arrows which I can kind of move around with this. Makes it pretty easy, makes it pretty simple. And so let's just say I move it around to the edge of here. Let's make sure this is in the middle exactly. I kind of moved it. There you go. So that's like directly in the middle at the very end of this hinge. And so you can also change the angle of the force, because of course in an ideal world it would be going straight down, but in the real world the forces could be acting on any direction. So feel free to change that to your needs. And we also have vectors, of course. If you have specific forces in different directions, then feel free to change those values as well. But for now, we're just going to be working in the normal direction. And then here is where you're going to specify the magnitude of the force being applied. So let's just say I want to do a realistic value, 20 pounds maybe. Okay. 20 pounds, right? But right now you see it's in Newton. So make sure, because units are the most important thing whenever you're doing any type of analysis or engineering work in general. Units is just the most important thing to worry about, making sure they're all correct. So I know that I want 20 pounds of force, so make sure to click on pound force, or the different types, but pound force. And don't worry about the rest of these. Just going to be really simple. So click OK. And now we have an arrow showing up that kind of displays our load. And so now you have contacts. For this one, we're not going to put any contacts on. We don't, unless you have specific contacts, like with different bodies. So this is different from a constraint. A constraint is where it's kind of fixed. It's kind of like that's the origin. But contacts is different in the way that it's actually interacting with other bodies that could or could not be fixed as well. So that would be more for complex geometries. But for this tutorial, we're not going to really go into that. The next one is safety factor thresholds. So you can apply, again, lower and upper limits to your safety factors depending on if you know what they are, whatever you're looking for. But again, that's a little bit more advanced. But for this tutorial, we're not going to be doing that. And here you can change the view of the model type. You can have a mesh view, seeing how many nodes and triangles you're working with, or whatever geometry. The next setting is manage. Of course, this is just to see all the settings. So if you click on it, kind of just see an overview of all the settings you have. You can change the mesh, a little bit of mesh settings here. Click on advanced. You can go even crazier with it. But for this, we're not going to be worrying about that. Okay, so now we can finally head up to solve. We have this little icon here called pre-check. If we click on that, we can see that, again, it's already green for us, so we kind of already know. But just to confirm, it says the study setup has all the information required, meaning, okay, we have all the variables defined to perform a study on this. So we can click OK, and now we can just simply say solve. And then this pop-up screen shows up, and then you can just click solve one study. Save it to whatever you want. I'm going to call this test. And now this is going to, depending on your connection, your computer, that's how long this will take. But for simple geometry, this should not take no longer than 2 to 5 minutes, I would say. So now we have finished the study. We can see that it says complete. We can close this. And now we can head up over here, back to the top tab, and click on this results section. And click on simulation results. Now it'll take us to a page where it'll start fetching all the results of the study we just completed, and this could take a few minutes again. Once it has fetched the results, it'll now show up basically a visual representation along with a bunch of different numbers. So right now, right away, we got a kind of deformation visually shown. Right now, this is adjusted. So if you see this, if you click on actual, right, and it kind of says it in the description here, undeformed, we can display the results undeformed, meaning we don't really see visually what happened to our object. Then we can go down to actual, which displays, again, as it says here, the calculated deformation. So this is what it would be like realistically, or what you could expect theoretically in a real world situation. And so you can see that it's not as much when you compare it to, let's say, if you adjust it to a 0.5, right? Now you can see it's actually scaled a little bit more, so you can see visually, and just depending on what you need. But I'm gonna just be on actual for right now, or 1 times. And so if you look on the left side here, it actually gives us a result summary, which is basically the standard minimum safety factor. And so here we can see the minimum safety factor that we have for this specific design is, again, pretty good. It's very strong, actually, 8.491. And that is evenly throughout our whole object. Now, if we did have a weak point in the object, and this would be for more of a complex geometry with a bunch of different extrusions, curves, and all that sort, we would have different areas of safety factors. So it wouldn't be evenly distributed like this. So again, this is a basic tutorial on just what you would see for a simple geometry like this. We'll go to display. So here we can see mesh view, and this will actually show us the mesh of our geometry. If you look on the bottom right here, it will tell you how many nodes and elements it used to calculate in the study. And this is relatively small, I would say, as compared to what you would see in the industry with, it could be up to millions of nodes and elements. It really just depends on how refined and specific you want your structural analysis to be. And of course, that would require a lot more computing power based on the numbers of nodes and elements. So if you can go back, we can go back to wireframe. There's also wireframe view. We can turn off mesh view and just see the basic. And then we can inspect a lot of different options here. But for right now, this is basically what we want to see. So another thing I forgot to mention a little earlier is we see the safety factor right here from the results of our study. However, if you were curious on what the stress, strain, displacement values were that were used to ultimately calculate the safety factor, what you want to do is go up here to the results section and click on this icon, the results. And this will list all the results generated by the study, not just the final safety factor. So once you click on that, you get a drop-down menu, and you can see here that it has a safety factor, of course, with the bar here on the right kind of showing it with the color code. But if you can click on stress, for example, on this object, you click on the drop-down menu. You can see the von Mises stress, first principle, third principle, a bunch of different stresses calculated. You can see displacement values, total, X, Y, Z directions, the reaction force, the strain, and again here, a bunch of different variables. And if these values kind of seem gibberish to you, don't worry. However, if you're in college studying mechanical engineering or another related field to that, many of these variables will seem very familiar to you. And this is coming from like a perspective of a college student currently, as a mechanical engineering undergrad. I'm very familiar with almost all of these values, actually all of these values completely. And you'll start seeing them a lot in your physics, statics, dynamics, and even up to solid mechanics. All these different classes, you'll see these values, and you'll basically be doing a bunch of different calculations based on these, among other concepts as well. But I just really want to wrap around the idea that it's pretty cool. Like calculating is one thing, or calculating, on paper in class is one thing, but actually seeing objects that you design personally and kind of seeing how they come to life, and you can even animate them. Just a quick little thing here. We can go to, just click on safety factor, click on like this, and if we go down here to like von Mises stress, or we click on any of these different ones, we see an animation bar pop up right here, right? And so we can change the speed of the animation in the intervals. But this will basically kind of show us, like you can see it right now. It's at 1x speed, so it's kind of slow, but you can see it move in real time along this time interval. And you can even speed it up. Let's see. Let's go to another value like total displacement, right? Now you see this is sped up at 2x, but you can see the different, the way it changes over time. And I think that's also pretty cool seeing that come to life. So that's it for this basic tutorial. And again, I will be posting a more advanced one later on in the future, kind of showing a more complicated design with multiple bodies and components together. Thanks for watching.